Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Did she now? Well, I can see I was mistaken. Because if Catherine really had sent you, there'd be a lot more expletives in your message. Hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Means Braxton skips work sometimes, but it also means no company boss is telling me when I can take a shit.
These MSI types are living the dream.
Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra jugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind? Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the salt tuna, fat, and mostly tumor-free. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work. Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much. Tell him to complain to Catherine in Fallbrook, not me. Sublight's demanding more money for the same contracts, which means we're all in the same boat. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire Sublight contractors at this rate. Same thing as me. Where's your proof? Because I know no one's been poking around my terminal lately.
I'm in the wrong business if a woman this dense can get away with robbing her company.
Just as a hypothetical. Nothing to see on my terminal, of course. Because I've done nothing wrong. For running me ragged while he takes an extended leave at the bar? Not on your life. Maybe so, but I bet you Caleb runs out of bits first. Then he'll have to come back. He says he's got a stash to tide his crew over. Could be he's all talk, but if the money's real, I bet you he keeps it at home, near the diner. Fine by me. Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a Ground 6 spacer.
Velma seen out of sorts to you? She's always praying.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace? What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place. And how should they know what they're missing? I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted. Yes, free to wallow in squalor together. Free to squabble with the iconoclasts over a raptidon-infested hellhole. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
What's that smell coming out of Celia's apartment? Probably whatever she bought from that guy who's...
You startled me. Don't sneak up on a person like that, huh? Braxton. I've never even heard of a Braxton. Got nothing for you, sorry. No! Okay, maybe, just a little. Braxton always has a good stash, and I just like to let loose a little. Stop thinking about the marauders and the raptidons outside, you know? Oh, damn. He told me he was delivering to this house in the ruins south of town. Whole family had fallen sick, and he had some meds on hand. So maybe look for him there?
I'll be straight with you. Folk who disappear in the wilderness generally aren't able to come back. Don't get your hopes up.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Did you hear that power play, Celia? They don't make them like this anymore in Halcyon. I only hope you don't judge me by my handshake. Now, what business brings you here? What a charming notion. One doesn't meet many free spirits in Halcyon. Not outside Tartarus prison, anyway. Forgive me, I'd be positively enraptured. Only, I take it this means you aren't here for Saltuna. Yes, that's it. Channel your anger. I only wish I could do the same. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board.
Because he's scared to go it alone. You need the board to hold your hand and tell you everything's gonna be okay. Ain't that right?
Surviving alone isn't as easy as it looks. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now.
So-called is right. We've got our hazards, but we're still here, damn it. The board took off without so much as a thought for the folks left behind.
That's the board's way. Doesn't matter if you're Monarch or the Groundbreaker. If the board can't control you, they'll find a way to punish you.
Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
You talk like Graham.
Can't imagine why you'd sneer at the notion of a free colony. Could it be because you're an agent of the establishment?
Monarch's a free planet, Felix. It's also fucked. I ain't a fan of the folks on the board, but if they could be wrangled to rebuild our roads, I'd welcome the help.
Your friend makes a good point, young man. I used to be young and idealistic too, but you can't run a city on high-minded ideals.
Indeed. Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Are you out of your mind? You can't just go crawling back to your old masters.
Well, we can't continue to subsist like this either.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
And a Mantisaur problem, and a Marauder problem.
Many, many problems, but they can all be solved with a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Oh, yes. I'm going to be up all night with this. All those blanks waiting to be filled, boxes waiting to be ticked.
Try to control yourself, sir.
Have you any idea how powerful this is? Corporations have been toppled with less. What a question! Bureaucratic micromanagement is the only way anything gets done in Halcyon, and proper documentation is a key part of that. For our part, a bill of liquidation/transfer Form 52 will protect our holdings on Monarch by temporarily assigning them to a pass-through entity once we drop our bomb on the board.
What Mr. Nandi means is that we have some rather momentous information to deliver to the board. Or we will, with your help.
I have reason to believe that one of the other corporations is operating on Monarch, illegally and in secret.
The board just can't let Monarch go, huh?
If we can find proof, I can use that as leverage to encourage certain powers that be to accept our Bolt 52 and reinstate us on the board. You really think so? I admit I've been hatching this scheme for quite some time. I just needed someone capable to help me carry it out. If someone is operating here, then Catherine's almost certainly supplying them out of Fallbrook. Perhaps she could be convinced to tell you where they are. That's part of the problem. She has certain ambitions for Stellar Bay, and I fear my asking her would give her the leverage she's been looking for.
Don't get yourself worked up, sir. It's perfectly natural to have a healthy fear of her.
Oh, she's not fun scary like you, just scary. But that's why you'll be equipped to handle her. Once you, subtly work out where this corporate facility might be, bring back proof of its operation. Maybe some nice letterhead. Or someone working there. That would do it. A foolproof plan if I ever heard one. I'll leave the execution to you. But that's terrible. What happened? I'm glad to hear you've dealt with them. They've been causing quite a bit of trouble around town. I've been consumed with other matters of late, but I would have dealt with them eventually. Of course I would have. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. Please consider this payment for your services. I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? This has been my albatross. The great shame of my career. I give MSI everything. My work, my youth, my left kidney, and for years, I was a joke to them. Oh, perhaps they were right. After all, what have I built? Stellar Bay is barely keeping afloat. I hadn't thought of it that way. But perhaps there's something to that. Thank you for that. Was there something else? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. I'm listening. Celia is taking notes. What can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2, but back then it was known as Terra 1. Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names. After all, the whole point of terraforming was to make them Earth-like.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
That ain't fair. They didn't leave on account of the hazards. They left on account of their cowardice. The hazards just gave them a reason to put to paper.
Sharp as ever, Nyoka. And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. Our leadership at the time certainly wanted to. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up. It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. That's what I thought. But the senior executives laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else. In a manner of speaking, many of us stayed behind in an act of quiet but firm defiance. As the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. But we weren't trying to. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws.
Your first mistake was expecting the board to cut you a fair deal.
I understand the sentiment, but if we can't rely on some sort of framework, then what do we have? I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them. A chance. They've been doing this for years. And well, let's just say I know enough about Graham to be confident that he won't change. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels and pushes us further from the rest of the colony.
So, what's the downside?
Shall I begin with the supply shortages or the subtle but constant threat of annihilation? He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
It's straight bullshit is what it is. A fabrication rich folks use to preserve their investments by leaving a lot of people here to die slow.
Nyoka has the right of it. It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
Sounds like the board gave themselves the power to arrest an entire planet.
They would say it's for the greater good. Monarch may be dangerous, but it's hardly the wasteland the board describes it to be. Whatever the board's goals, the greater good has little part in them. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Yeah, and once you go back to him, he'll own your dignity too.
Yeah, that'd go a long way toward rebuilding our homes.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I fear the MSI citizens who've been dissolved into Raptidon Cud would disagree with you. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship. Indeed. I've discovered it's much easier to negotiate from a position of power. And I don't mean to leave MSI or its people at a disadvantage. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. What can I do for you?
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today? Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. I didn't have any choice. That's all Sebastian had in stock the other day. Oh, I don't need any of it. It's also I can talk to Sebastian. He doesn't get going about much else. Sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises. Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like salt tuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
You ever think about what goes on in a marauder's head?
No, they're crazy.
But they still manage to feed themselves, dress themselves, work together. Gotta be something of that.
All I need to know is that they're on the other side of that wall.
Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell, and revel with us? Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? I never meant to call for anyone's head on a pike. Velma's not my favorite person, but she ain't been cruel to us. Devil it all. Now you got me feeling sorry for her. Fine. I guess we'll go back to work to save Velma's job. We'll find a better time to negotiate our wages. Tell Velma not to worry. We'll look out for her.
Smells like rat. Oh, it does work.
I'd give you a friendlier welcome, but I'm up to my elbows in salt tuna guts.
Who spat in your spirits, Velma?
You noticed my mood? I'm surprised you can see straight today.
I could be seeing triple and I'd still think you're being unkind. I just might find it funnier.
Will you try wrangling half a ton of dead fish with decades-old equipment and see what it does for your disposition? Anyway, what do you folks need? Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. Well, that's awful nice of him. Sure wouldn't have expected that. Thanks for your help. You've gotten me out of a tight spot here. Take this for your efforts. Honest work deserves honest pay. Something else on your mind? Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the stereobiotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. Someone would've if this were a corporate town, but we pride ourselves on giving people a little breathing room. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the salt tuna, fat and mostly tumor-free.
You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts?
Sebastian, you ever get your hands on those pheromone sacs? Manipillars ain't gonna hunt themselves, you know.
I must have hunted a dozen, but I couldn't find a single sack on any of them. Must be looking in the wrong place.
Manipillars ain't got pheromone sacs. I just told him that so he'd stop asking me for advice.
At least I'm getting a good haul of claws in the process. You're in good hands, traveling with Monarch's top merc. Still, if you want any rat glands or manticlaws, I've got you covered. Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Nice of you to say. I like her too. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm? Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice. Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia. I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on. Not to worry. If I never buy another Raptidon tongue, it'll be too soon. Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and Mr. Nandi's giving me that back-to-work look. Anyhow, thank you.
Nice that Celia's finally got a date. She needs to get out more.
I hope your being here means the board is loosening their restrictions.
Can we talk? Hey, got a favor to ask you. Figure while we're out here in the wilderness anyhow, we might stop in on an old friend of mine. Preferably before we get to Hiram's. It's on the way, don't worry. You don't seem the type to run off and get yourself killed, and I could use the help. I'll be upfront with you. I hate asking for help. I hate it. Every time I give someone the opportunity to disappoint me, they seem to make it their most immediate goal. But this, what I'm thinking, it's dangerous. Really? Here I was steeling myself for inevitable rejection. I used to run with a band of hunters. Friends. 6 of us. We were on Monarch when the corporations pulled out, and we helped a lot of people pick up the pieces. I haven't seen 2 of them in years, and the rest I know to be dead. I'd like to gather their effects and bury them all in the same places, like the family we once were. First, we go to Hayes. I buried him a ways from our encampment. I need to pay my respects. I'll show you where he rests. He had a medallion in his effects. That's what I'll bring home to Barry. A long time ago, we built an encampment in one of Monarch's cave systems. Trouble is, a Mantiqueen showed up and kicked us all out. If we can find Rebecca and Anders, they'll know how to lure her out. Then, we kill the bitch and bury everyone's medallions together. Thanks, Cap. Good old Stellar Bay. Only place on the planet that don't stink of sulfur. On account of it stinking like fish instead.
Heads up! One down!
Everyone all right?
is with you, boss!
Covering you!
Crossball kick! Everyone all right?
A visitor? What an unexpected surprise! Please, come in. Come in.
I'm getting real bad fight or flight right now. Watch your step. People ain't this friendly outside city walls.
We're armed to the teeth. What's he gonna do? Kill us with generosity?
That's the spirit. Now come in. Make yourselves comfortable. I'm afraid we don't get many visitors out here. The Raptidons and Marauders scare off all but the boldest. And if you've braved them, you must be exhausted. Why don't you stay for dinner? I'm sure I would remember something like that. Now, quit fretting yourself about that. Make yourself at home. Dinner's almost ready.
I think I just lost my appetite.
They'll never see us.
Hey, what are you doing in my room? Maybe I'll tell Mama and Papa. Then you'll be sorry. You're trying to steal the last of my rocket candies, aren't you? The ones that come in a bottle with a rocket ship on it. Like the other man used to bring. I'm not telling you. What do you think you're doing? Just keep your fingers to your own self, okay?
They sulfur-sodden assholes. Ain't enough that the raps eat everyone? Now people are doing it too?
I am so glad I skipped lunch.
But what's this? You're tracking blood into the kitchen. Oh dear. You've been nosy, haven't you?
Quickly, my dear. He's getting agitated. We can't let the meat spoil.
Don't worry. We'll make this quick.
I knew Monarch had monsters. Never expected they looked like people.
Ain't deserved to die so clean. I hear you're into Graham's philosophist hogwash, Felix.
Yeah, if by philosophous hogwash you mean the virtues of enlightened anarchy.
Organization separates us from the animals. You ever seen a rat lay plumbing? You see sprats running around building roads? Maybe the folks we have at the top ain't exactly leadership material. But if we tore the whole thing down, we'd be kings. Queens of a wasteland.
Correction? Kings and queens of an awesome wasteland.
I'll take toilets over freedom any day of the week.
I'd give you a friendlier welcome, but I'm up to my elbows in salt tuna guts. That he's got his load on and I'm stuck covering his shift? That's... wow. I sure feel like an ass now. Oh, sure. Because Monarch's just teeming with experts in the finer points of salt tuna health. Still, it's good to know what happened to him. And that I ought to start looking for a replacement. Something else on your mind?
I hear those rich people in Byzantium. Pay a handsome bit for rap must.
You know, Nyoka, between you and me, we know all there is to know about Monarch.
What makes you say that?
You've got your life experience as a hunter, and I've memorized every episode of Terror on Monarch.
Oh, Terror on Monarch's a riot. It's all made up, though. You know that, right?
Yeah, right. Next, you're gonna tell me Halsey and Helen weren't based on a real person.
I won't tell you that, no. You seem happier in your ignorance. I'm on it!
Got him, boss! The best there ever was! Here we go!